said, "What's wrong, Brad?" He said, "Nothing's really wrong, but I got invited to the White House."
It's a free pass.
So we have Riley Cote here. Riley, do you believe Brad's at the White House right now?
He may be. Yeah. I mean, you have to have a pretty good excuse if you're going to bail out of this radio show. So
apparently Joe Biden having a rink in the White House lawn for kids and military members' kids and a couple of NHL people, alumni were invited there, and Brad's one of them. Pretty nice feather in the cap of WBCB to have a guy miss a show because he's been invited to see the president at the White House.
Well, I don't know about history, but I know there's the Easter egg hunt on the White House.
Yep.
What else activities do they have on the White House? There's no Frisbee games or anything else, but now there's hockey.
Plenty of land. I come from Washington. I've never been president, as you probably know, and I'm not sure what they did.
Of anything?
Yeah. No, not of anything. You don't want me to be president. I don't know what they do at the White House. We can get into it for next week, though. They could have Easter egg hunts, which they do have, and you got to be careful because Brad was a defenseman like you were, Eddie, and Riley, you've hit a couple people too. Brad's got to be careful. You can't hit those Secret Service guys because they have a little bit more than body armor, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't want to do that.
We'll talk about the Flyers tonight, who lost last night to the Carolina Hurricanes in one of the worst games I've seen in a long time, 4-1. Eddie, I know you saw it. Just kind of a boring hockey game, but more importantly than the hockey game, Flyers playing well. Quarter of the season done. Flyers in third place in a bottom playoff spot, which nobody thought was possible. Obviously, there's a long, long way to go in the Metro Division. But John Tortorella was talking after the game. He doesn't normally do this, but everybody's got a heart, and he's got a big heart. It was Flyers Hockey Fights Cancer Night at the Wells Fargo Center. Everything was purple, which is the color of this charity, and the NHL's representation of it. And John Tortorella said, "Listen, we were horrible tonight. We're going to burn the tape. We got to get ready for the next one." But this really wasn't about tonight, about plays that were not made or what Carter stopped or not. 9-year-old kid who's going to be our player of the week, might as well mention that now, was on the bench in the first period, and Tortorella was helping him along, and the players were great. That's a lot of what hockey does, isn't it, Eddie? I mean, it's
well, you know what? I hope it was the NHL that happened to do that.
Yeah.
No, but Make-A-Wish Foundation, so good. But if somebody came up with it from the NHL side or the Flyers side to do it and say we're going to do this and pay attention, how can we do it? I think it's brilliant rather than saying, oh, it was, it would. Still great. Make-A-Wish does a fabulous job, but I'd love it to be a hockey idea.
Yeah, and Riley, I'm sure every team does it. Obviously, every team, everybody's against cancer. I don't care what hockey team you play for. But when you played, were teams pretty good with charities, with bringing kids to practice or whatever, who were ill and games, whatever it was? How were they with that?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I can remember, it was always kind of say loose. I mean, there was always somebody around for games and practices, and always trying to use the platform and the brand, the Flyers brand, to help a sick child feel bigger than the world, and that's what I think these guys do a good job of.
Well, to expand on the fact that no NHL team had any foundation like the Flyers Wives Carnival. That was the first of the whole NHL. Then when I played in Hartford, it was the Whalers and the Cancer Center in Hartford. There was a Cancer Center out in Farmington, and they did a grand ball and a dance and a fundraiser, and that's where that. And so now, playing around in Buffalo, they have a Niagara wine event, but that money from New York wines, Niagara, Ontario wines in there, a big wine festival and silent auction, but they raise money for charities. So every team now practically has found some sort of, we've got to be tied into the community. And the Flyers then took it an extra step. How do you tie into the community? Mr. Snyder ties it in with the Flyers youth.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. Obviously, any pro team in any kind of community where anybody cares about anything is going to be required to do this by the league or whatever. But you said the Flyers do the extra step. I mean, who doesn't want cancer beaten? Who might as well tie your public platform to it? and with the kids, and they had veterans and all kinds of people, and everything was purple themed for the night. It just so, and you're not pretending that you care. It's not like Malaysian French fry night where everybody can pretend that they care about Malaysian French fry.
I don't even know what they are.
I don't know what they are either.
That's
But
such a thing.
pretty good. I mean,
It sounds spicy.
Chicky to bring him over.
But the kid on the bench, I mean, Tortorella, he was shy. His name's
Yeah.
Owen Machichi. He's the captain of his local team. Tortorella raised his head up, raised his hands up. You could see they cared about this, and the players were great. He dropped the face-off puck, and the Carolina captain was tremendous, shaking his hand. It can only do well for you to look good with things like this. But I think beyond that, they're human beings too, Riley, obviously, and they see that.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, their heart goes out to these kids that are struggling. And, you know, if you put a smile on their face and give them an experience like that, I mean, it means the world to these guys, you know. And he did warm-ups there, too.
Yep.
He's playing with the guys, passing with the guys. I mean, that means a lot. You know, we take it for granted, some of the stuff that we have access to and the things that we're into. And, you know, this is like a dream come true for these young kids. So
Wait, and taking a step, always, that was really cool because it's not like using a kid as a pawn, but
Right.
making somebody's day. But the Flyers alumni, every kid deserves a bike.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know
Brad
what?
Marsh does that
Brad
with
Marsh,
the Warriors,
big things.
the bikes, yep, it's
Warriors,
tremendous.
I mean, for the Flyers to be involved, whether it's gritty out about shaking hands, doing the right things, delivering gifts.
Ed Snyder Youth Hockey, not
Thanksgiving,
sick
I
kids.
Yeah,
can't
exactly.
make it, but we
Yeah.
go in the inner city and provide turkeys and serve food.
Yep.
We were really, really active, but it was a great thing, something really different that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
That they go like that.
It's the right time of year. Obviously, the holiday season. Game didn't go too well. Guys, the Flyers are playing pretty well, though, early. Eddie, you were a defenseman for 9 years in the NHL. You were some bad teams. You were some very good teams. What's it like playing on a bad team that you know is going nowhere, and how much oomph does it give?
I had in it'd be almost 60 days from now we would officially be eliminated if we were on the Hartford Whalers.
60.
And still have
Late
That was
January.
my Christmas.
Still have 45 days left to go, 20 games left in the schedule and being
man.
done. So it turned into you try to remain a team guy, but it was every man for themselves on that sinking ship, and just knowing I'm playing hard, trying to do the right things, but man, we just don't have anything going in the right direction.
What I thought you were going to say when you said 60 days, I know Riley's playing it. You'll mention that in a second, but the Flyers are having the 50th anniversary, which also Brad's spearheading. He does an amazing job with the alumni in so many ways. The alumni game with the Boston Bruins, where a bunch of the Broad Street Bullies coming back. Joe Watson, our guest next week, is almost 80 years old. He's going to play. You're playing, Riley. How much fun is that going to be?
It's going to be great.
Whole weekend.
Yeah, man. I played in the last one a couple years ago at Wells Fargo, and it was just, I mean, I love to play. I mean, it's actually nice to play hockey and enjoy it, not have to dust it up. So, being around the guys and the fans love it, obviously. I'm just, a throw-in here.
Charlie,
but,
I can't even, when I put on the skates this week for Thanksgiving to skate with the grandkids, I had trouble reaching my toes.
Well, you don't know about this, Eddie.
That was so hard. I was looking for clip-on ones that are Velcro that I could Velcro
I called
over.
Gary Bettman about this because I knew you were going to be on the show. And Gary Bettman said to me, he took the call, which I was surprised at because he didn't know who I am. But I said, is Eddie Hospodar allowed to play in the alumni game? And he said, you are aware. I said, aware of what? He said, when Game 6, Montreal, 1987, the pregame fight here before that game, he said, you were not only suspended for the rest of the playoffs that year, but
Seven Stanley Cup games.
7 Stanley Cup games, but all alumni games forever. You said you were not eligible to play.
That's not true.
Not true?
That's not true.
What was that like? Yeah, fans always remember that. They asked me about it like I had something to do with it. I watched on TV like everybody else. What was it like to be in a fight before the game that drew that much attention? Tell us about that a little if you could.
Oh, wow. Never really thought. How it started was I was a healthy scratch. And then I decided that Claude Lemieux used to like to shoot the puck on the open net. And I decided
Which is a hockey no-no.
Well, it wasn't.
warm-ups.
Nobody said it was a no-no. I thought it was bad taste. I thought it was poor sportsmanship. And I had nothing to do. I was out for the skate, but I was a healthy scratch.
So you
I
were
was there in
ejected-
case somebody got hit with a puck or a groin, and then I could go.
You were actually ejected from a game that you were scratched from. That's got to be a first.
Well, no,
Very
I was ejected from future games in a game that I wasn't on the game sheet.
So for people that didn't see that, tell us what happened. It was an amazing night.
I can't tell you the whole story. I mean, it doesn't even make it. Jay Greenberg, bless his soul, writes a book about 50 years or how many years of Flyers history, right?
Yep.
And when we go to that chapter, it's kind of eliminated. Like, there was no mention of Ed Hospodar or pregame brawls in the book.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Why?
Because I wouldn't say anything, and I guess Mr. Snyder paid for the book, and Mr. Snyder told Jay to go to the next page. Sort of like what went on in Chicago, going on in Chicago, throwing away what was said about it. We had 5 extra guys dressed for warm-up by Mike Keenan. Mike used to send the boys out. I'm going to say I was told to do it, but I won't say that.
Yeah.
So then I weighed the things about if I do it, and if I don't, I'll change ways. And I did. Mike got fired. The league changed so that now there can only have 19
extra, right?
guys,
Yeah.
one extra guy
Skate
per
warm-ups,
player. Rules about stepping over the red line and all
Yeah.
that. They're all in concrete. I think I've got about 12 rule changes.
Because that one night.
Well, over the course of 10 years.
Wow, that's
we're
amazing.
done.
Get some
You ever
street
get
cred
angry,
for
Rose?
that.
You ever get angry at a guy before a game and go before a game?
Not really angry, no, but similar. Well, it's not quite the same type of story. But I was scratching a game in the playoffs against Montreal, and I put my stick in Kovalev's face, and I landed up getting fined for it. But didn't start a brawl, but definitely didn't get kicked out of any games in games I wasn't playing in. That's impressive.
Did you get reimbursed for your fines?
No, I didn't. No.
I did every time.
Did you? Yeah.
I did every
Flyers knew it. Do this, but we'll pay for it, right?
Yeah.
Rangers do that. Pay
Really?
for. Hartford,
I
not
wish.
really, so I never did it.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Flyers are the top of the NHL generous list as far as
I think
paying for your
when
fines?
Ed was around, yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's funny because some teams would say they'll reimburse you, and other teams will say no, and then they want you to do it, and you say, "Wait, I'm going to go out and like you wanted me to get that guy, even though it was his third man in, or you know."
How much
do
are we
they-
talking about reimbursing? What was the largest amount you ever got fined?
About $26,000.
So that's real cash. we're
Well,
talking about.
whatever the Stanley Cup round was, that's lost income.
Yeah, right.
And no cap, so they couldn't put it against something.
Well, so I lost, but in tax time could say I lost income for that, so I put it as a line item as lost income.
Saved you money, huh?
Yeah, and then get reimbursed
Yeah, exactly. On the back.
as expenses for something else.
Good strategy. Yeah.
Interesting stuff. As
Your
always.
liberties limitations can't come in and
Yeah.
Yeah.
get it back.
Yeah. No.
You know you're in a
Too
Flyer
far gone.
situation where two
You
guys.
know
come
you're
up-
you're not in you're not talking to a hockey player if I'm discussing this stuff. That's the fighting,
hockey
the
player.
fine, that stuff should have like nothing to do with games. I wish I could talk about goals I scored or something
You
else,
can't.
but
You scored goals. We'll talk when you come back. We'll talk about goals that Eddie Hospodar, Riley Cote scored in the NHL. We'll talk about a teammate of Riley Cote's who, unfortunately, sitting on the bench one night, broke his face.
Oh.
You heard that right. He broke his face. He works for the Flyers now. How does that all happen? Will you tell us about that, Jolly? Yes. Well, the Independence Blue Cross on the ice continues here from Chickies and Pete's in Marlton. Beautiful. A lot of energy, a lot of TVs, a lot of energy. We love it. We're back after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Come enjoy some delicious additions to our fall menu. Feast on our sweet fire barbecue wings, served with our tasty chive ranch dressing. Our Thai chicken sandwich with pickled red onions and sweet lime dressing, served with a minced slaw. Or Chickies and Pete's hot honey pepperoni pizza with extra pepperoni and delicious hot honey. For game day or any day, come see us all fall at the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
I'm always striving to live my healthiest life, so I need a health plan that has my back. With Independence Blue Cross, I get access to the largest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free virtual doctor visits 24/7. Plus, with premiums as low as $0 per month, I can stay on top of my health and keep my budget in check. Independence has given me coverage I can count on, and they'll do the same for you. Explore your coverage options and enroll today at ibx.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700. Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa and Salon is the true retreat from the everyday, with locations in Glen Mills, Springfield, and Center City. Joseph Anthony is a premier salon and spa destination that offers unique and luxurious services such as the soft pack float and hydrofacial. The Center City location, located on the 5th floor of the beautiful Lowe's Hotel, is now open and features an exclusive summer menu where you can indulge in the Joseph Anthony experience in the exquisite Turkish bath. Joseph Anthony's little black card is the perfect gift for all your loved ones' relaxation needs. Call or go online to josephanthony.com. That's josephanthony.com.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one-stop shop for all your shopping needs at Fairless Hills.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Riley Cote.
You are listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross, right here from Chickies and Pete's in Marlton, right here on 1490 WBCB. It's time now for the Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week. Each week we award a Flyer with this honor. This week, I think you'll understand, it's 9-year-old Owen McKitchie, a cancer patient who sat on the bench during the first period last night on Hockey Fights Cancer Night. Wonderful gesture from the Flyers. The kid loved it. The crowd loved it. Remember to choose Independence Blue Cross today and begin to live fearless. We have two fearless guys with us tonight. Riley Cote, our guest host, and Ed Hospodar, former Flyer defenseman, played with a few NHL teams. Eddie, it's the trivia portion of our program. You want to talk hockey. You played in 450 NHL games.
Sounds about right.
How many goals did you score?
I never got 20. I think I averaged 1.5, so maybe 18?
Way off. 17.
17. All right.
How many assists?
Oh, I have no idea.
51 assists. You also played 44 playoff games. An idea of how many Stanley Cup playoff goals you scored?
Oh, I did better. My numbers are better in the playoffs than they are in the regular seasons.
Close.
Close, yes. If you look like points per game and all that stuff,
yeah.
I think I'm better.
4 goals and an assist in 44 playoff games. Final question.
4 goals and assists. Now, what are 2 of those 4? I remember 2 of the 4 goals I scored
You don't
in the
remember
playoffs.
all 4? I remember every playoff goal I ever scored.
Okay.
Every one.
So the first one is the first goal I scored was against Brad Marsh and the Atlanta Flames, and it was game 1, the game winner. I scored we won 3-2, and I scored the third goal. And I was out. I had one shift that game.
Wow.
One shift that game.
That's impressive.
One shift, one goal. Then I played the record I hold then is the fastest goal to start a playoff game in Ranger history.
Wow, how fast?
Against the LA. 18 seconds, I think, into the game.
Wow.
It was dumped in. The goalie came off the boards. The goalie came out to play it. Thought I was going to run him, so he left the puck there, and that was wide open. I popped it in, and it happened on April the 8th. My mom's birthday was the next day. That's how I remember it. It was a picture in the paper.
You remember how many goals you scored in the NHL, Ralph?
It's a hard one, hard to remember.
How many?
I got 1 NHL goal.
1?
1.
You remember exactly the scenario?
I do.
You picture it in your head?
Tell me.
Yeah.
Who was
it? It was actually not a bad goal. It was against Carey Price.
What goal could be bad?
Well,
scored against
we're
the
down.
Good goalie. At least you have a good goalie.
Yeah,
I
right.
scored my first one against the French guy, too.
Did you?
Dan Bouchard.
Calgary Flames.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Atlanta Flames.
Atlanta Flames, right?
Okay.
I scored the winner that knocked him out of Atlanta. That's
Yeah, right.
So tell us, set your goal up for us and tell us about it, Ralph.
Yeah, it was. I actually was the first guy back for the puck. Broke the puck out to R.J. Umberger, and then just cut through the middle of the ice. He gives it to me right over the offensive zone blue line, and then put it over Carey Price's shoulder. But the game was out of hand. It was 5-1, and there was maybe 6-7 minutes left in the third. So no celebration. Line back up with, I think it was Steve Beijing or
Did you
whatever
keep
that
the
was.
puck?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. But it was
awesome.
it was one of those it gets thrown in the stats column, but didn't really mean a whole lot.
Your only NHL goal didn't mean a whole lot?
No, it wasn't about that for me, honestly. I would have liked to have scored more. I could probably stayed around the league a little longer, but I was more concerned. At the time, I was just more concerned about, I don't know, street credibility and
talk about street cred, Riley. You were a guest on our show a couple weeks ago. We talked about this with Bernie.
Yeah.
Eddie and I obviously haven't talked about this yet, but Adam Johnson played a few games for Pittsburgh in the NHL, got killed in England by a skate in a game several weeks ago.
yeah.
It was obviously a horrible story. And they actually arrested the defenseman. I can't remember his name. I could look it up, obviously, on a manslaughter charge. Crime and sports mix in this case. They actually are pressing charges, Eddie. His skate came up, hit him in the jugular. Mark Howe was on our show the next week, said, he's obstructed people. He'd take 2 minutes with his arm, take a penalty, do this, but never with his foot. And obviously the guy didn't mean to kill the guy. But are there certain lines you can't cross in hockey, lines that you didn't cross that this might play into?
Oh, wow. You know what? I think I got to a point in the league where I think I was a little sick. I thought that could do stuff that just was shouldn't be allowed, and I had the owner of St. Louis and some other owner just wanted me out of there because we would go in and we'd start the Broad Street Bully Act, and wasn't it funny that Barclay Plager did something to the Flyers and then they got tough. Well, here we were in New York, went into St. Louis. Now maybe the new owner, and with no recollection of what that happening, now was on the other side of the fence saying, hey, wait, we're being bullied. Bernie Federico, Eddie Keogh, Mike Liu, they had a superstar. They had a great team.
But not many tough guys.
Then we would draw straws on who would take on Sittler. Would it be Tommy Laidlaw go with him first, then I get him second, and then somebody else gets him third? If we can't pass him up and get him out of the game.
But you never thought about a crime. You never thought, I'm going to go after this guy and wind up in jail, maybe in the penalty box.
No. But, sometimes now I see it and it's like totally wrong. The headshots in football coming across, laying guys out. Some of them can be pretty bad, but the problem also hurting this guy that kicked his skates out. Like everybody says that, whoever talked to said, no, he pretty much does. He's had a couple of another prior incidents going along with him doing the same thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Riley, you were a tough guy
Yeah,
in the NHL.
It wasn't his first offense kicking his skates.
I did not know
No,
that.
no. That's just wrong.
What do you think of that now that there's been a charge? And I mean, I don't know what'll happen with it, but something for every player to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, well, for sure. And I think we talked about it. You have to be accountable for your actions, and you have to, you got a stick in your hand and you got skate blades on, and you have to be responsible for your body. I mean, I was reckless. I certainly never threw my body like that, And yes, he didn't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to kill anybody. It wasn't like that, but I mean, you are responsible for your own actions in your body. Unfortunately, he certainly crossed the line the way I see it. Wasn't a hockey play.
And when we were fighting, though, now I realize it wasn't. Clark Gillies broke my jaw in a fight, and afterwards, the biggest thing to get over for me after being wired shut and getting back on the ice and saying, "Wait, I'm supposed to be a tough guy. Do I want to do this?" It's a mental thing as much as a physical. So how IndyCar drivers or downhill skiers or people that jump and crash and break these bones and then want to go back and do it. Yep. It's like it's a really amazing.
That's the hard part. Somebody to me said doing it's one thing, but doing it again after you have taken the proverbial punch in the face, whatever that is, that's the hard part.
Yeah,
right?
Or boxers. I mean, I have a tough time watching these guys. UFC fighters in the cage and all that, like, whoa, wait a minute, they're going to be like, and I feel for it. I mean, later on now, 65 almost, saying, wait, is my brain being a little bad or the aches and the pains that we're going through from fighting and having broken bones and the arthritis and the knees, left knee, right shoulder, it's getting a little harder. And then I'm blind in the right eye. Took a stick there in 8th grade, detached retina. They thought 6-7 weeks, flat in my back, patches over both eyes, and then wanting to go back and play without a shield.
Well,
who lets that go?
You talk about the eyes. Last night, we were kind of hanging out between periods. The media, some ex-players, a bunch of guys. You guys know where that is at the Wells Fargo Center rally, and a certain Flyer radio analyst came up and told a story. I told him you were going to be on the show tonight. He said, well, talk to Riles about blah, blah, blah. And we talked about when you were driving over here. Tell everybody about Todd Fedoruk's, the worst injury he ever suffered because it wasn't in a fight.
Yeah, that's I want to hear about this.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I know Todd from back in junior hockey. So it was 2004-2005 lockout. And Friggy had already played with the Flyers, and Homer had signed him to an AHL contract that year. It was his first game with the Phantoms at the Spectrum. And John Slaney rims the puck around in the D zone around the glass, and it's stuck around the glass. And all the guys were kind of like looking how the puck was breaking out. Everyone kind of moves as the puck comes by, and Friggy's face stayed right there. And I was right beside him, and it sounded like. I mean, like plastic crumbling. He broke his orbital bone and everything around it, and just put his face down. And I was like, oh my god! Like,
is he out for the year?
He's over. Yeah, I think he came back towards the end of the year, but yeah, he was out for a long period of time. And then a few years later, he gets his face broken by Derek Boogaard. So he's got this Terminator 2 Cro-Magnon face going on with 13
I'm sorry,
plays.
Todd, for laughing at you.
Yeah, it was scary. The sound of it is still like.
But not once, but twice. Both sides of his face.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, incredible.
Todd Fedoruk's name is Fridge. Yours is Boxcar. Something tells me Boxcar had something to do with not the food you ate or the trains you took, but how you played. How'd you get that nickname?
It was my lack of ability to stop and turn.
Yeah.
I got going so fast that I hit like a runaway boxcar. They couldn't stop or turn. Eddie McCabe, the Ottawa Citizens.
My problem is not actually stopping. My problem is starting.
Striding.
Driving. There we are. Someday we'll get on skates and see how I can actually skate. Probably not quite at an NHL level, but I think other people have already decided that. We'll talk to Eddie when we come back about Eddie followed a path that not a lot of hockey players follow. Born in Bowling Green, Ohio, but kind of raised in Canada. That's interesting, Eddie. Tell us about it. Riley also is doing some very interesting things with his life. If you haven't been here when he's a guest, very, very interesting things that Riley Cote is doing. We'll tell you all about that, tell you the stat of the week, and much more from beautiful Chickies here in Marlton, where Melissa is the best waitress we've ever had. And we'll be back with you right after this. Stay with us.
So here it is.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. The tradition continues. Thanksgiving Eve, it's the Turkey Trot, only at Chickie and Pete's on Packer Avenue in South Philly. Wednesday, November 22nd, starting at 7 p.m. with the sensational Soul Cruisers and this year's host, Mr. Saturday Night himself, Bob Pantano. We're going to be dancing the night away as we welcome in the holiday season at our annual Turkey Trot at Chickies and Pete's. Wednesday night, November 22nd in South Philadelphia, only at Chickies and Pete's.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700. Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa and Salon is the true retreat from the everyday. With locations in Glen Mills, Springfield, and Center City, Joseph Anthony is a premier salon and spa destination that offers unique and luxurious services such as the soft pack float and hydrofacial. The Center City location, located on the 5th floor of the beautiful Lowe's Hotel, is now open and features an exclusive summer menu where you can indulge in the Joseph Anthony experience in the exquisite Turkish bath. Joseph Anthony's little black card is the perfect gift for all your loved ones' relaxation needs. Call or go online to josephanthony.com. That's josephanthony.com.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one-stop shop for all your shopping needs at Fairless Hills.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Riley Cote.
Alrighty, folks, it's now time for the Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. Ask for Danny. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Saturday night, guys, the Flyers played the Islanders. There was not a goal in regulation, nor overtime as Sam Ersson pitched a shutout. Tyson Forster scored in the shootout, fourth round, to give the Flyers a 1-0 win on the Island. That's the stat of the week, brought to you again by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. For the smart choice in payroll services, Payroll Service Solutions, catering to the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. Riley Cote's maiden voyage as a co-host tonight, but you're doing some interesting things, Riley. We talked about him on the show. You were a guest on a couple weeks ago, but for people who didn't hear that, might be new to the show, you're leading a pretty fascinating post-career existence. Tell everybody what you're doing.
Yeah, I guess when you get punched in the face enough, life squeezes you, squeezes you out, and puts you, on a different path. And I'm in this world of mindfulness. I teach, practice yoga, meditation, breath work, but I'm also into the integration of plant medicines, so cannabis, psilocybin mushrooms, and other healing modalities. So it's been an interesting ride, and I really got into it because of the brain, the concussion-related stuff. As you talked about, like what is my brain actually going to look like in the next 15, 20 years, and how can I reverse some of this damage and hopefully settle this thing down so it doesn't lead to CTE and whatever all these other long-term brain issues that are happening. So that's why I got into it, and it's been incredible, honestly, how many people I've seen being helped, and the work is incredibly in alignment with my heart. It's the work I feel like I need to do, and it's been rewarding.
It's tremendous. I mean, I feel bad for Eddie and then people like him who played when you played, Eddie. You played in an era when if somebody said, what's the long-term effect of these shots you're taking, people were like, I don't know. Nobody had any idea what CTE is or anything like that. If you had to play again, would you play the same career knowing what you know now? Would you play differently?
I had the chance to. I had the chance to just stay and play and not fight, not do that. I was actually pretty good, and then I just found this role of bad guy or whatever, and I got this rush. It was fun. It was easy. I mean, shame that didn't have to focus on my skills as much anymore as about being a disruptor, a disturber, or a pain in the butt, and I got into that role, and I actually did it. I did very well at it. I mean, I pushed the limit every time, and maybe that was bad that I was getting away with it and somebody didn't grab me. Now, Craig Patrick came in with the Rangers, and then Herb Brooks. They tried. Freddie just let you go, and he loved it. Freddie Shero was great. He was respectful and all that, and I found doing it in New York and getting the rush of Eddie in Madison Square Garden.
They weren't yelling Freddie Giacomin,
well, they do for him, but they did it again for me. That was cool.
All right.
And being on Broadway was fun, and then taking it to another place. Didn't have to play when we went to L.A. or Vancouver, but when I got back, Boston, Philly, I was dressing, and I was in the show. I was making 4 times more than I would in the minors, so because I could make bonus money on top of that, and life was good. So I went down the road of not playing, but then my career was interesting because then if I got on good teams and we played in the playoffs, I had bonuses for each round that we went. If we won that, I got additional money besides Stanley Cup. So guys would go down, McCrimmon goes down, and now I'm playing in the semifinals / Stanley Cup games and getting all the ice time I want. And they're like, wait a minute, and not taking penalties, being told, stay out of the box. Don't do that. I hit somebody in a game, and then I turtled, but then I remember Gretzky came by, and because I turtled, and he pointed his finger and said, you're done. You're done. You just told us what your team's made out of, and we are going to win the Stanley Cup. And that, like, oh my, he's right. He's right. I can't do it because we have no other guys that they wanted to play with. So it was wonderful.
You guys both were heavyweights in the NHL. I got to hold my mic here. It's dropping a little bit. Not a vanity thing. But, Riley, somebody said to you, people have asked me, I know nothing about this other than watching TV, and who's the best fighter you ever fought, and who do you think is the best fighter in the NHL that you ever saw? I'll ask both of you guys that. First you, Ross.
Well, the toughest guys that I fought were George LaRock, Donald Brashear, Colton Orr, Chris Simon. I mean, there's some big ass dudes for sure.
Yeah.
I never had a chance to play against Probert, but I think the second part of your question was the toughest. Probably Probert. But
were you heavier when you played?
Yeah, I was a lot heavier. I was like 30 pounds heavier. So
I was thinking, wow, man, you had to good for you.
My
that mind and soul stuff is doing great for you. Look at me, I got a spare tire.
I had to make some serious decisions in my life if I wanted to keep going on that path. So but I was fighting. I was gaining weight to move up a weight class or two. Even some of these guys were insanely big, as you know. I mean. There was no easy fights. I mean, they're all battles.
I would say that I was afraid every fight.
Yep.
Because it's just one punch, and a cheek, jaw.
Yeah.
Something can happen.
But Nick Delorier got in a fight last week, and a lot of people noticed this. It was on SportsCenter. It was on post-game show. Got in a fight with somebody. I can't remember who it was. Pretty even fight. Both got a few shots in. And when the linesman broke them up, they basically high-fived each other and went right to the box. There's an honor among thieves in there, Riley. I mean, this is your job. It's not necessarily you hate this guy, but tell us about that. I mean, the high-fives are – it was interesting that anybody who's never been in a fight in the NHL, tell us about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, there's obviously honor in fighting. I mean, you look at the martial artists and the UFC fighters and the boxers. I mean, they're yapping and they're talking a big game, but there's honor in it, and it's no different in hockey. I think at least the legitimate fighters, there's honor in it when there's a mutual agreement to fighting. So I think that was it, showing each other respect. 5 or harder minutes, and tap each other on the butt and the head and move on. Obviously, I think more in your era too. There was more spontaneous, insane type of fights blowing up based on the situation, where maybe you're able to get a guy that you actually want. Maybe you're actually fighting a little more mad. I never really fought, as long as I can remember, fought mad because the game was a little bit different. But it's certainly not a shortage of.
No, you used to go to the game and said, "All right, I know I'm going to fight Al Secord."
Just not sure how it's going to play out. Yeah.
The best I ever saw, you played with him, Eddie. I mean, the Flyers have had a ton of great fighters, Holmgren and Dave Brown, and obviously Schultze and Donald Brashear and Fridge and a lot of others. The best I ever saw in my amateur eye was Ben Wilson.
Ben Wilson was very good. I will say that. And funny story, I fought him, and we played together in Ottawa. So our parents knew each other. Then Ben used to go read Ben's older brother John, who's now a doctor and all that, used to go and read the fax machine. And he saw in the fax machine a trade thing, and he told Killer to say, Brian Kilray, hey, I think you should trade so-and-so and get him.
No way.
And then, so Brian Kilray, who's in the Hall of Fame as a coach in juniors because he's put so much in, and that's how he got into said he's had enough. So he traded Ben and that for Jimmy Fox to the Windsor Spitfires. Ben and John Wilson away, and that's how we got
brothers
Jimmy Fox.
Were traded in the same deal.
Yep,
got rid of the whole family.
Got rid of both of them, but Ben was really good. But you know who was no slouch here in his day, and you named Brownie and that, Craig Berube.
Yeah,
he's great. Yeah,
Craig Berube. Man, and that guy, I say he's like my idol. Like one of the guys who watched and said, wait a minute. Chief gets in here. He's fighting. I have a good story about him. But
Well, can I ask you to save it till after the break?
Yeah.
I'm going to take a break. I know it's
So
a great
bad.
story. All right.
this is so bad.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Craig Berube story comes back when we come back. We'll also talk about this and that. Talk a little bit about the Flyers team this year and where it's going.
So
Riley
bad.
Cote is our co-host. Eddie Hospodar is our guest. We're Chickies and Pete's in Marlton. We invite you back. Final segment of On the Ice presented by Independence Blue Cross right after this. Stay with us, folks.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky Pete's. Come taste our unique flavors for fall with some delicious additions to our cocktail menu. Try a pumpkin white Russian with Stoli vanilla or a tasty tequila apple pie with butterscotch schnapps. Or how about a fireball apple cider sangria topped with ginger beer for game day or any day? Come see us all fall long at the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Learn more about your coverage options at ibx.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700. Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa and Salon is the true retreat from the everyday, with locations in Glen Mills, Springfield, and Center City. Joseph Anthony is a premier salon and spa destination that offers unique and luxurious services such as the soft pack float and hydrofacial. The Center City location, located on the 5th floor of the beautiful Lowe's Hotel, is now open and features an exclusive summer menu where you can indulge in the Joseph Anthony experience in the exquisite Turkish bath. Joseph Anthony's little black card is the perfect gift for all your loved ones' relaxation needs. Call or go online to josephanthony.com. That's josephanthony.com.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one-stop shop for all your shopping needs at Fairless Hills.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Riley Cote.
We have actually changed the name of this show to the Craig Berube Story Hour, and I now introduce you to our host, Mr. Edward Hospodar. Sir?
So let me set the frame. It's probably 1984, 85. Go to training camp. Now I've got 7 years under my belt. And here comes this Craig Berube and wants to show that he's tough. Very first day, like 10 o'clock in the morning, opening day of camp, and he's wanting to fight. Wanting to fight. And I'm not out here to I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, right?
6 years. I'm on your team. Like, save it for somebody else. Or go after a rookie or go after one of these guys from the Hershey Bears and cut your teeth there. But not with me. Not with me. You're trying to make a name. So you're an old dog. You're an old dog. No bite. No bite. And all that. Oh, you're scared. So we get up for the next shift. And the Flyers set it up that every third shift we were on, Berube's on. All right, up against me. He's going to play left wing. I'm playing right defense. And he grabs me again. I just hold him off. So the referees get in here. You're an old dog. You don't want to bite now. Like, kid, go fight somebody else. I'm not. But it's not going to happen again. There's no third chance. You come after me again, I'm going to get you.
You said that or you felt that?
I said it, and maybe not that polite.
Yeah.
So then I go to some of the vets on the spot on the team and said, hey, Timmy Kerr, so-and-so, tell that young man to not come around me. Otherwise, I'm going to hurt him. I'm playing with it. I said, I think Mark Howe is the defense partner, and I'm there sitting with him. I said, Mark, put the puck, when you pass it over to me, just put it in my skates. Like, what are you doing? I just put it around the board. Just put it down in the skates. So even if it came on my stick, I'd probably would have left it go off the boards. So then I'm the right defenseman. Chief's puck comes around to me, and I have plenty of time to get it off my stick. But I just said, all right, come in a little closer. I got my head down, and he's gaining speed. He's coming after me. He's going to get me and knock me. So right at the last minute, I lift up my stick, and I put it right across his nose. Cross-check him right across the face. So now he's down. He's down on all fours. He's got his gloves off. He looks in his hand, and his nose is bleeding.
Already broken?
Bleeding. And he looked up at me on all fours and said, that was cheap. And with that, I dropped my gloves and I said, yeah, and this is cheaper. and I whooped him.
And this is in practice.
Wow,
yeah, this is day one training camp.
10 a.m.
So now I go in the locker room and they have these the seats in the where you get physiotherapy or gets taped on. And he's in there with a nice pack on and the gauze stuck up his nose. And I thought, you know what? Now's the time to go after him and say, hey, I told you, young man, sorry about that, but I wasn't in the mood for anything. I thought the worst thing that could happen, he'd come after me and I just grab his nose and doink it.
You got the tender nose.
And if I walked
so
in the
if
room,
we're ever with Berube and not one of these nice things, you can come over and say, hey, just wondering, like, you're pretty tough. You guys ever fight?
Wait a second.
And he'll say, oh, you're such a jerk. You're such a thing. If
I had walked in the room right then,
I'd
Eddie,
definitely bring it up.
Wait, if I walked in the room right then and said, you're playing around with this young guy, blah, 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 I'm telling you right now, that guy's going to win a Stanley Cup as a coach. You would have said what to me?
Hey, I started 5 minutes ago saying what Chief accomplished.
No, not
for
now,
his hard work. Yeah, then I didn't see that coming. You know what? He was a tough guy, fighter, hard worker. But then he plays it for like 14-year career.
Right.
Yep.
No kidding.
14-year
Yep.
career. Then steps out of it, gets in with the Flyers, and I remember he was really raw because he would just turn to reporters and say, that's a stupid question or something like that. Like, he was tough, and they were like, have to back him in and shine him up a little bit that, oh, you just don't talk. Yeah, you think it, but you can't do that to the press and all that. And shined him up. He goes to St. Louis, and John Davidson sets him up with I think it was JD, sets him up with a Stanley Cup. It was amazing. I'm so proud of him.
Oh, yeah.
So proud of him. I was like, but I didn't see it coming because here's this guy, like, how many I mean, how many fighters you see as leading the leagues? It's usually Iserman's that gets the job, Cam Neely's that gets the job, it's so-and-so something else.
We got a couple minutes left. It's interesting you said that because certain things happen you just don't expect in life. Riley, we're talking about Craig Berube winning a cup. Nobody thought Keith Jones would be the president of an NHL team either. Danny Briere, the GM, Dan Hilferty. You talked to me during the break. The Flyers, listen, they are what they are this year. John Tortorella said last night we're going to have good games, we're going to have bad games. We're rebuilding. We're trying to identify a nucleus. We don't have a great power play. But you said a word that it plays in Philadelphia, and you guys both know it plays. They're a watchable, fun team, a lot of effort. What are you seeing in this year's Flyers for Tortorella?
Yeah, I haven't watched every game, but, like I said, on the break, like they're watchable. They got some young energy in there, getting Coots and Atkinson back. You get some, leadership back in there. We all know they're in a rebuild, and I believe they're superseding what my expectations were. And, again, they got some young energy, some young talent. So I like what I'm seeing as far as, the situation goes.
Eddie, you get the last word tonight. What are you seeing from your limited contact with this year's Flyers?
No, I agree. Last year they said, listening to NHL guys talk on the NHL station and say what great young talent the Flyers have. I'm seeing a team that's competing every week. It's getting way better than last year, easier to watch and all that. And looking forward, saying they're rebuilding, we talk about the two guys that they have drafted that they're protected, the one's in college, one's playing over, they can't get.
Yep.
Now, just hope they both stay healthy, and if they're online, there's some promise there.
Yep. They were rated by the Sporting News last week, Mitchkov and Gauthier, 16 and 17, the two highest players rated under 24 in the world, not currently in the NHL. So the Flyers have some good stuff coming. They had some good stuff in the past, too. Great job done by my co-host this week. Love to have him. I'm sure he'll be back. Mr. Riley Cote, you enjoy yourself?
I did. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Well, Brad Marsh is preparing his 2024 presidential campaign. I don't think he's a U.S. citizen, so he may have to run for Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah, well, we need one of those, too. Yeah.
We'll see.
He's probably got his green card, though. At least he's in the country legally.
He's in the country legally, yes.
But, it doesn't matter where he went. He's
doing
welcome there.
His Warrior stuff. Eddie, thanks so much for being here. We love when you get here.
Thank you.
That Berube story is an all-timer.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All righty, folks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening and watching from Chickies and Pete's in Marlton. Chris Irmer produced this fine program. Keith Noonan back at the station. For Eddie Hospodar and our co-host tonight, Riley Cote, and Brad Marsh, who's at the White House right now. Join us next week. Our guest will be Joe Watson. Talk about the alumni game and much, much more. Until then, go Flyers. Have a great week and happy holidays to everybody.
You've been listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 WBCB and heard around the world at WBCB1490.com.